Hello, everybody, and welcome to Goal Line Gossip. This is the Fallout show where we talk about Premier League matches from the weekend before. And what a weekend it was! Some mouth-watering Premier League matches. Manchester City took on Newcastle United, and of course, the main game of the night, Liverpool versus Manchester United at Anfield. As a Manchester United fan, I think it was a horrific result. Losing 7-0 to your arch rivals is it's something that you would like to forget. It's in the history books now. We cannot shy away. It was very disappointing to go through 90 minutes of that crap. Uh, but we have Bong Scouser here. Bong Scouser supports Liverpool. And what were your thoughts on the match, and how are you feeling on Monday morning?
Oh, tell you what, I still cannot digest it. I mean, it's too good to be true. I said in my match reaction just after the game that someone, if someone needed to pinch me because it was too good to be true. 7-0 against one of the best United teams of the last decade. It's unbelievable, really. But that just goes to show that, Liverpool, even though we've had a bad season, when you have a guy like Jurgen Klopp, you know, Liverpool are going to be back for sure. I mean, come next season, if Liverpool get the signings that they want, I think Liverpool are definitely, going to be, uh, in the top two for sure. They are going to be challenging for everything again, for sure.
Right. But what are your thoughts on the match? I mean, I'm sure you probably did not predict the scoreline 7-0 as well. What are your thoughts on the game? How did it go to 7-0 in the final whistle?
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to really analyze this game because everything was just perfect. I think we'll start off from the back line. I think Virgil van Dijk and uh, Ibrahima Konate have forged a good partnership. I said before the game that once we saw that game against the Crystal Palace against rather who was it? It was Wolves, right? Yeah. So against Wolves, we saw what they were putting together. They have a fantastic understanding between the two, and I think we saw more of that. I was happy to see Trent Alexander-Arnold do some good defending this game. He was on fire, really. The midfield was probably the area that gave me, a lot of a lot of happiness because I could see that Liverpool press back. Our number 10 was really back. So so Henderson, Fabinho was really on top of his game. He dominated Casemiro in in all the moments that I saw. Uh, Henderson again was back to his best. Harvey Elliott was again big surprise for me, even though he made one or two loose passes, but he put everyone together in the team, and he was the one who was linking the play very well. And the front three, wow, what can we say about them? I mean, Cody Gakpo and Darwin Nunes, Mo Salah. Mo Salah is the guy who will be remembered, uh, by all Liverpool fans because of this game because he has now become Liverpool's top goal scorer in the Premier League, and that says a lot. He is a modern day legend. What a game he had, and everyone in that Liverpool team, they played on top of their game, and that is the reason why Manchester United really, you know, they gave away. They were Liverpool were too good on this day, and you know, and there's only one team who can play like that at any stadium, you know, and that's Liverpool at Anfield. It doesn't get better than this. 7-0 is is probably a result that will give all Liverpool fans hope that even though we are having a bad season, we can always come back.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the main question is, were Liverpool that good and Manchester United really bad, or sort of like a combination of both? I'll go to our Man City fan who must also have watched the game and loved every bit of it. So, what were your thoughts on the game, Pravasi?
Well, I felt United team was slightly tired. I felt, and that gave away the match to Liverpool.
No,
Otherwise,
no, no. We can't say that. Pravasi, you've got it wrong there, mate.
no,
How are you saying
I
United
felt
were tired? No, because
United was a little tired, considering their body language, or after the first goal when they gave away the match just completely in the second half. I mean, there was no pressure. They were playing high line. I didn't know what was the tactics or what was going on in their head, and I was slightly disappointed with the performance of the Bruno Fernandes as well. I feel being a captain, he should have shown much more maturity in that second half, which was clearly lacking. I think other pundits have also pointed it out. So overall, I felt that Manchester United as a team didn't play well in that day.
First of all, regarding players being tired, I don't think that's a good enough excuse for Manchester United in this scenario, because at the end of the day, you're facing Liverpool at Anfield. I don't care how many games you've played, but at the end of the day, you have to show up for this fixture. It's the biggest fixture of the season, every year, and you simply cannot get away with it saying that your players are tired. So although we've played so many games, I think this is the this is a match that you prepare for. There's a lot of strategy, tactics that goes into it, and yeah, no matter how hard I try, I can't mark it as an excuse for players being tired or overplayed or things like that. Speaking of Bruno Fernandes, I think he's. I mean, his performance was it was pretty bad on Sunday, but he was not the only one who had a bad match. There were so many other players who were uh, outplayed by Liverpool, and also from the threshold of the expectation that fans have towards some of these players. They were completely dumb tools, and I think singling out Bruno Fernandes is a bit harsh and unfair in this scenario, because Bruno has always been like this. He's been petulant. He's the person who goes down pretty easily. He's always complaining, nagging with the referee, and he's been like that since he came to United. That's his character, and I've seen Gary Neville and Roy Keane go in on him, and I get that. They're Manchester United fans, ex players, and losing 7-0 to Liverpool, it definitely hurts. And we are all like looking for that scapegoat or that problem and point at it and say that this is the reason why we lost the match. But I think it's tough to look at Bruno and say that he was the reason why we failed to win, and that's because he's been playing 90 minutes for like probably forever. I've never seen him. I hardly see him get substituted. He always shows up for the match. He's always running around and contributing to the game. And his win ratio as captain is over 50%, which is way better than Harry Maguire, who's supposedly the official club captain, who's on the bench. So for me, I think it's difficult to point finger at Fernandez and say that he's at fault. It's a collective.
Well, first I'll come to the game, then I'll move to top four
Sure.
or top six positions. My point is everybody written off Liverpool last match. Even the Liverpool fans, they didn't expect it. Not just this scoreline, the entire gameplay of Liverpool. Everybody written off. Probably that got into many players. I don't know. I mean, they became confident till first half. It was, I would say, is a more of a 50-50 or even 55-45 to Liverpool. But after second half, I don't know what got into what was the team talk of Ten Hag. I'm not sure. I mean, it's just not one player's Bruno or Martinez. Yes, Martinez was a little disappointment that match. I have to say that the way he used to play other matches and that match, I would say it's something entirely different. Martinez. It's probably I'm not taking credit away from Liverpool players. They are exceptional. They are absolutely exceptional. The way they played, I mean, it's beyond imagination. I was just looking into stats. I mean, uh,
Mo Salah totally shred him off. You know, he was shred to
yeah,
pieces.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. And Mo Salah looked ripped physically and mentally. The way he dominated the game, not just physically possible, he was mentally ahead of the every Manu players, or rather every Manu defenses as well. So my take on this match is we are expecting out of Rashford every match. That's not possible. You cannot depend on one single man. It has to be entire front line of Manu that failed miserably that day. And
That's a
yeah,
good
I mean
point.
Henderson. I mean Henderson. I saw Henderson. I mean the last season Henderson actually, or previous season of. I mean he was in a form where he was doing everything in midfield, from breaking up the play, for building the play, for holding the ball. That's something we would love to see from Henderson. And one more thing is, I believe Liverpool is going in Arsenal way. They are building a team based on a young players. Most of their players came from 90 to 23 ages. And I mean, they perform something that we haven't seen from any team, not even from Arsenal. And I was looking at the stats. This is something since 1924, Manu lost to such margin in any competition. So it's been 99 years. I mean, it just says something about Liverpool team display. And yes, I mean, nothing to disappoint from Manu side. Of course, I was happy the way Liverpool took the revenge. I was happy at that 2-0 defeat from our Carabao Cup final. That's just personal opinion. I'm not going into
Let's
that.
just talk about some few points regarding the Manchester United and Liverpool match. This time, focusing on Liverpool, based on their current performance against Manchester United. Uh, so again, like 7-0, that's a massive score line, and clearly with what you guys are saying, whatever they touched turned into gold. Everything went right. Uh, what do you think is the reason why we've not seen this form consistently for Liverpool? And is this a transitional match for them that'll just help them, just flip the switch and go into this new mode where uh, they start winning more matches? What are your thoughts on this, Bong Scouser?
Yeah, okay. Firstly, I think scoring was not that big an issue because for me, defense was the bigger deal because, you know, really Joel Matip and Joe Gomez, they were not up to it. I think Aitun Mag, in one of our shows, he called out to Konate. He said that if Konate comes back, Liverpool defense will be sorted out, and that's exactly happened over the last two games. I think. We saw that Konate and Virgil van Dijk have formed a really strong partnership at the back. Uh, Talking about our top four chances, yes, we are in the top four, but we also have the difficult run of fixtures. But in the title run, in really the fixture doesn't count because I think every game is going to be tough. Even the relegation, we know how the relegation teams play in the last games, right? So and we this time uh, below the top 10, anyone could be into the relegation places because it's really fiercely contested there. So I think it is going to be a tough uh, tough set of games. Uh, you know, for us and for any team who are playing for that top four. So, but when it comes to the future perspective, I think Liverpool are okay. If we get, one or two good midfielders who can buy into our game, I the thing with Jurgen Klopp and this Liverpool committee is that there are very few signings which totally don't pay off, right? So we mostly get them correct. So I have my faith on on the management, and I feel that if we can get the right players, again we are in the right direction. And it's not just this game. I've been seeing Liverpool play well over the last 2 3 games, and this time we've seen a lot of the best part is that we have a lot of young players coming through. Pajetic, Elliott has been good, even though I don't think he's a permanent fixture in our midfield. Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo now set fire. It's not just this game. We've seen it before as well against Madrid, against the other teams as well. So, so all in all, I think we are headed in the right direction. And yes, even though we've had a poor season, that's much down to our, I would say, our belief that our available players are good enough and they do not need replacement unless we get that dream player. That policy, I don't know. I totally, you know, don't agree with that policy, and I think Liverpool are in this situation only because of that. But having said that, again, I would like to reiterate that Liverpool are headed in the right direction, and I think next season, if we get the right players, we are back where we belong.
Right, right. Interesting. Yeah, and in sharp contrast to Liverpool doing well, let's talk about Manchester United not doing so well. Aitun Mike, what are your thoughts on how can like Ten Hag resolve this issue and probably like bounce back? We do like Manchester United; they do have a good run of fixtures coming up, the Europa League and the FA Cup, and also in the Premier League. What do you think Ten Hag needs to do in order to you know just move along and get back to the form that they were before the Liverpool match?
I think Manu is professional enough to handle the this 7-0 defeat. I mean, it's just one game. Very bad day at office. I wouldn't say bad day. It's a very bad day at office. So I think Ten Hag already doing a phenomenal job at Manu right away with the set of players he's having. He resolved the Maguire and the Ronaldo situation. Rashford is in good form. Defense is a good form. Apart from the one match, that's just one match. I'm saying time and time again. Uh, if the way they are playing, if they continue to do so, they are absolutely fine. Top three is secured for them. I'm not going for, I mean, title. That's not realistic still, I believe. But yeah, well, mathematically possible. But one match cannot define. I mean, I cannot say that they have played well in the match in that match particularly, but one match cannot uh, take everything away from whatever Ten Hag or the team achieved for last couple of months. From position ninth, probably they have moved to top three. I mean, they started in a very bad way. Even some fans are shouting, "Sack Ten Hag." Ten Hag is not the right man. I mean, he may be a right man from Ajax, but not for Manu. So I believe they are doing a phenomenal job. Forget one match. That's just a happens in matches. 7-0. It's something. Realistically, probably in 100 years, it's not come from Man United again. So maybe in 2001-23, we can see Manu again losing to some team in say 7-0. But I think they are doing pretty fine.
Right, right. Yeah, I also certainly hope that they get over this as soon as they can and get back to winning ways. I think as a Manchester United fan, like I said, it's something that you would definitely want to forget and move on. Um, Speaking of Manchester United from a point of view of Eric Ten Hag, I still feel that he has a lot to learn in the English Premier League. I know he comes from the Eredivisie, which is not probably in the same standard as the English Premier League, but he's a winner over there. But when you transition into a different league, a more competitive league you know, uh, with where players are superstars, where teams are heavyweights, that there is some adaptation that needs to happen as the manager of a club like Manchester United. I feel that in that game in bits and pieces, uh, he was a bit immature in trying to not change his overall strategy, and that's one of the reasons why we went from 2-0 to 3-0 to 4-0 to 5 to 6 to 7 ultimately. We were playing on the counter. We were pressing high up the pitch, and unfortunately for us, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And the downside of that tactic is if your opponent, like someone like Liverpool, who are also they happen to be really good at countering, and if you cannot press man to man and you are not able to high press and recover the ball, you might be susceptible to a counter. And I think that's what happened, to a point where every time they went forward with the ball on the counter, it seemed like it's going to be a goal. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why we could not shut the gates. We couldn't play in a compact way. We were still trying to be somebody that we were not. The match was at some point at 3-0. It was already slipping away from us. And that would have been or should have been the sign for us to just resign from the match, hold the deadlock at 3-0, and just sign off for the day and just live to fight another day, right? And I don't think we did that. And that's one of the problems that we have. They had 8 goals. They had 8 shots, and out of them, 7 went in. So yeah, I think there's a lot for Eric Ten Hag to learn as
So I
well.
think I think 8 shots on target.
Yeah, 8 shots
I
on
think.
target, and
Yeah.
out of those 7
Yeah.
went in, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that's a bit lucky for Liverpool, but at the end of the day,
No,
like,
I don't think that was lucky. If you see in the games, Liverpool created a lot of chances. They could have been around 10 goals, 10 to 11 goals, but they created a lot of chances. But yes, 8 were on target. Okay,
yeah, but
so
scoring
I
7
don't
out
think
of
we were
8 in the
lucky.
target, that's a bit like, I mean, you don't see that. I mean, come on. First of all, like 7 goals, that's a bit
We were
strange, and
clinical.
then
We were clinical, mate.
yeah, I mean, I hope so because I think it was a game of two halves. If you look at the first half, I believe it was pretty even, Stevens. I know you guys scored
Yeah,
through Gakpo, but it looked like
yeah,
we wanted to see out the first 25 minutes, not go 1-0 down, and there
correct.
were a few chances for Casemiro, for Rashford as well when Luke Shaw
Yeah.
played over. I was going really well. I don't know what happened in the second half. We conceded really early, and I think that's when the heads dropped, and we kept on pressing and just went from bad to worse at some point, and we just didn't know how to shut the gates, and yeah, and there's a lot
So
of
a lot of Liverpool fans in our group, they had mentioned before this game that United have actually closed the gap on City and Liverpool. But after this game, what is your opinion? Because do you think the gap has really bridged, or what performances we have seen this season is just a smokescreen?
I don't really think it's a smokescreen effect here. When you actually have to analyze the performance of Manchester United over the course of last year and this year's performance, I think the most considerable amount of change that has happened in the club is a new manager, and this time we got a proper manager, a manager who's a winner, who knows how to lead a squad, which we didn't have in the previous season. We had 3 managers last season in Solskjaer, who well, he is a manager, but he's won nothing. Then Carrick, I think, managed the club for 3 games before he left the club, and then we had Ralph Ragnick, who has some coaching badges, has managed a football team before, but he was not a manager. He was a director of football for the Red Bull team. So I think this year is a bit different because we have a coach who understands the game, who is able to lead a squad from the front and get to work with the players, get them in the fighting spirits, get them in the winning mentality. And these are things that didn't happen for us for a while now. You see players like Rashford, players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who have completely changed their game. They are performing in a way that we would never thought that they would on the pitch. Uh, you have Rashford, who's been scoring goals left, right, and center. You have Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who was on the transfer list for last summer, but somehow he survived, and now he's been performing under Eric Ten Hag and serving for the club. So he has made those changes, but at the same time, we shouldn't forget that this is the same team, like almost the same team from last year, and these players were they were down tools. They let the club down. We had a horrible season, and actually speaking from a point of view of having good strikers, I think none of our strikers from our previous seasons have been replaced. We did not replace Cavani. We did not replace Cristiano Ronaldo. We lost Greenwood. And these are things that we have to, figure out. Martial only plays 5% of the games. And I know that we signed Weghorst, but Weghorst is not United material. But he is putting in a shift, and he is going there.
No, for me, I think with Saul, I think what I genuinely believe is that United need to get a number 9 in, like you said. I don't know. These days, it's hard to find a number 9 because the definition of a number 9 has changed over the years. It's really hard to get in someone whose real agenda is not to score goals. But then I think if United get a proper number 9 in, there are other areas in the squad which are already addressed. I think from what I have seen, they have tied down, Diego Dallo, who's playing really well. They've tied him down to a long-term contract, and I think overall United look good. It's only in probably some other positions in the squad, like players who need to come off the bench. Players like United have always had very good players off the bench who've come on and changed results. I think if United can get a few impact players in those departments, I think they'll be fine next season.